everybody, Sam Strains here, welcome back to the Railway and welcome to yet another locomotive review. Today's quite a special one actually, it's special edition and it's special for a number of different reasons and it's this. It's a Gresley A1 of course and the name is Woolwinder. I hope I'm saying that right, it could be Woolwinder I suppose, I'm not too sure. But anyway, this is a Hornby special edition, I think it's one of 850, that's it. And what's special about this is the fact that it is in a gloss finish and you can't really tell that from the outside of the box, but it is, and I believe Hornby did this in 2016. In fact, they released a set of 4. I think there was this in it, the Flying Scotsman probably, an A4, and the P2 I think, all in gloss finishes and all in LNER green. And I didn't buy the whole set because I just didn't feel like spending that kind of money on sort of one big item. So I did buy this on its own. Rails of Sheffield was selling this for £89.50 I think it was, which to be honest does sound a lot, but in this day and age you can't really get any decent Pacific for that kind of money, brand new at least. And considering that this one is limited edition and it's in such a lovely livery and a gloss livery at that, I think that was a pretty good price, so I hope you'll agree on that. Anyway, yes, this was done to celebrate, well not celebrate obviously, but to commemorate the death of Sir Nigel Gresley. Not celebrate, definitely not celebrate. And I think it's a really nice thing for Hornby to do. So we're going to be unboxing this one. It's an A1 as I said, and I really hope you're going to enjoy it. I know I am. I just love this engine and I can't wait to show it to you. So here we go, let's get it open. And as you can tell, this particular special edition even got its own special packaging. So here you've got Sir Nigel Gresley, and it says 1876 to 1941. And yes, as I say, limited edition of 850. And you've also got this little passage here at the front here, I'll just read it out. So it says, in a country renowned for its railway engineers, Sir Nigel Gresley, 1876 to 1941, is undoubtedly the foremost in the minds of many. 2016 marks the 75th anniversary of Sir Nigel's passing, and Hornby are marking the occasion with the release of 4 limited edition locomotives. So yeah, that's basically what I said a second ago. But yeah, 75 years, so it's a lifetime really, isn't it? It is a shame obviously, but I guess it happens to everybody. Anyway, on the end of the box you can see that this particular one is R3439 LNER Class A1 locomotive Woolwinder, again I hope I'm saying it right, number 2554, of course that's the running number, and yes, they like to reiterate that this is definitely a special edition. Anyway, on the back of the box, once again you've got Gresley just there, and you've got a little bit of information here, well quite a bit actually, so if you can, feel free to pause it and read it. But of course I will give you some of my own information later on. And then on the far end of the box, my favourite part shows the diagrams of the locomotive, presumably drawn so that this model could be created. And it's dated 2005, so if that's when the tooling was created, it's quite an old tooling, but it's still quite an impressive one nonetheless. Anyway, I think that's all I've really got to talk about then regarding the box, so let's get this thing out and I'll show it to you. Just slide it out, and I do love opening these Hornby boxes. I bet everybody does, because it's just, you know, it's like Christmas, isn't it? Every time. Yeah, Christmas every day of the year for me. Well, not every day, I wish. If I could get a loco every day, I'd be a very happy chappy. Anyway, so there's the block of ice with the engine inside, and the first thing, I've got to show you this. So this is the Sir Nigel Gresley Collection Certificate of Authentication, Class LNER Class A1 Woolwinder 2554. There it is. Little certificate, and if I can find a picture frame I'll keep up my tradition and frame it and put it on the wall. I know there's nothing too special about the certificate, but it just looks nice, doesn't it? They really go to town and give you something nice to keep. It's on lovely paper, and it says that this one is number 701, so reasonably near the end of the production run. So there you go. Then we've got the operating and maintenance instructions, presumably for the Class A1/A3, and of course the two are quite similar in model form. And inside, yep, it's the usual stuff. It shows you all the oiling points, how to remove the body, fitting decoders, yep, all the good stuff that you definitely need to know about if you've got this for the first time. So, yep, hold on to that. But let's take a look at the engine then, the part we're all here for. So I'm going to take off the outer sleeving, as usual. There we go, and there's quite a hefty looking detail pack, I've got to be honest with you. So the first thing that is obvious is the flanged wheel, and this will come with an unflanged rear wheel as it comes, which won't you know, derail on tight curves. But if you've got a very realistic layout, unlike mine with very sort of large sweeping curves, you can put this flanged wheel on and be a bit more realistic about it. And then you've also got some pipework in there you can just about see, which I assume will be cylinder drain cocks to be put on the bottom of the steam chest. But there's also a little booklet to confirm whether that's true or not, so if you ever need to know where they go, just get the booklet and have a look. But I won't do that right now. Okay, let's get her out then, and I can't wait to see, well, I can't wait for you to see the finish on this one. I'm not too sure just yet how the camera is going to take that. I don't know how it's going to show up, that is, so we'll have to see. But here it is then, Woolwinder. I should stop saying the name Woolwinder in case it was wrong, because I was saying Tangmere wrong for ages. But oh well, I'll be brave, keep saying it. Okay, look at this. So there she is in the gloss livery. And I don't know whether everybody will feel the same as I do. I really, really love this gloss livery. And I suppose it's more realistic than matte liveries that you normally get these things in. But I can imagine some people thinking that this looks a little bit toy-like and plasticky. I don't think that, but I can imagine some people do. So let me know in the poll. I'll put up a poll. Do you love it or do you hate it? Well, maybe hate's a strong word. But just let me know how you feel about it. But, you know, how can you not love this thing? It really does bring a lot to it, in my opinion, just seeing it in a glossy finish like this. When you see a real loco on a heritage railway or something like that, there's something about the gloss, you know, you go up to it and see your reflection in it, if they've been good and cleaned it, of course. Yeah, and you get a bit of that. Not that I've sat and looked at this thing to see my reflection or anything. I'm not that big-headed, I hope. But anyway, there she is. Fantastic. Breathtaking, to be honest. And I particularly like the tender on this, but we'll talk more about that later on. Anyway, here's a little bit of history then on the A1s. Hope you enjoy it. And as soon as I've gotten that over with, I will show you this thing up close. And it really does look good up close. Okay, let's get to it. So the LNER A1 started life on the GNR, which is the Great Northern Railway of course, in 1922 when they were designed for mainline passenger work by Sir Nigel Gresley, and they were built at Doncaster. The A1 was intended to perform the tasks that the ageing Atlantics of the GNR were beginning to struggle with, namely the mainline express services, for which much more powerful locomotives were urgently required. The A1's time with the GNR was very short-lived though, since in 1923 grouping occurred of course and they became locomotives of the LNER. During the 1920s, Gresley experimented with various modifications to his A1 design, including major changes to the valve gear, new boilers capable of higher pressures, which had more superheater tubes, and also changes to the cylinders. After all these modifications, a souped-up version of the A1 was created, and this was eventually reclassified as the A3, and you know the A3s because of the Flying Scotsman, of course. So these were also known as the Super Pacifics, and over time all of the A1s, I think, were rebuilt into this improved design, but it wasn't done quickly, and the process I don't think was completed until the very end of the 1940s, 1949, something like that. So of the 78 produced in total, only one remains in preservation, and that one, of course, is the most famous of them all, the Flying Scotsman. This particular engine, Woolwinder, was built at Doncaster Works in 1924 and was among the first to be withdrawn in September 1961, having served for less than 40 years. So there she is then up close for you, and I just hope it comes across on camera how impressive this thing really is. Yeah, I'm really happy with this one. This is one of those that you just absolutely don't regret purchasing in any way. Even though it breaks the wallet, you just, you know, you just feel like it was the right thing to do, and it absolutely was with this one. So to start with then, we'll have a close look at the livery, which is of course the main attraction with this particular model. And as you can see, the gloss finish is just applied in such a superbly uniform way. I would love to know how they managed to do that at the factory. You know, where these are mass produced, they managed to get the varnish on there just so evenly. I'd love to know how it was done. As you can also tell, the double banding on the boiler of this particular loco has been done superbly. I do have an A3, which I believe is a very similar tooling. It might be the same tooling with some variations. And the lining was a little bit dubious on that one, but no, this one has it absolutely superbly applied. And as you can see, the wheel arches also have the lining on them, which is very nice, of course, to see. And also you've got the Woolwinder nameplate, which I don't think is etched or anything like that, but again, the finish on it looks absolutely superb. You've got lining on the wheels, of course. You've got the green wheels, the green discs with the white outline on them, which just looks so smart. And even the bogies have the same effect. And also around the axles is been painted into the white lining as well, which is just, it is superb. You've also got red lining along the running board and also around the rear sort of pony truck, which just looks so elegant and quite modern as well. I really do like the look of that. You've got all kinds of other painted details as well. You've got what is probably the builder's plate just here on the side of the smoke box. You've got all the various, I always forget what these are, something to do with, I don't know, some kind of valve anyway that's been painted into gold. You've got all kinds of little pipes here which have been also painted into that gold colour. And the smoke box door as well. You've got a few of the details picked out there into a silver paint and what appears to also be a partially separately fitted smoke box dart, which is superb to see. The buffer beam also has, well, loads of detail on it. The paintwork again is gorgeous on there. It's sort of outlined in white and black, which looks superb. You've also got the running number on there, as well as a separately fitted vacuum pipe, chain link couplings, and also sprung buffers, which of course are made of metal. And I'll just demonstrate that they are sprung. Yep, there you go, they are sprung. In terms of separately fitted pieces then, you've got the handrails, which I suppose goes without saying, handrails right there. Over on the other side you do have a separately fitted, I believe it's metal reverser rod, which is again quite a nice sign of quality. You've got the safety valves here, or I suppose it could be a whistle. No, the whistle's behind. You've got the safety valves there, which are made of metal, which is lovely to see, and the whistle just behind, which I think also may be a metal piece. On the top of the cab you've also got moving air intakes, vents, as you can see, which do move. So that again is a separately fitted part, but it's also a nice detail, a nice little hint of realism there, which is lovely to see. Inside the cab the detail is absolutely superb. As you can see, all of the dials are fully painted up and there's just a whole load of fantastically detailed controls and everything inside there, which is super duper. There isn't any sort of cream colouring to the inside of the cab. I don't know whether that would have been prototypically correct or not, but it does look a little bit odd that the top of the cab is just black and the backs of the cab are black, but it could well have been like that in real life. Of course, I am no expert and I'll never pretend to be. Let's take a look at the tender then, because I don't think this tender is like the one on my other A3. It's got this sort of coal guard around the top, which probably isn't a coal guard because it goes round the water here. Not sure what the purpose of it is, but it does look quite elegant actually. It sort of adds a little bit of streamlining to it, if you know what I mean. Anyway, the livery on the tender is superb. You've got the L&ER sort of logo / lettering on the side there, which is always perfect from Hornby these days. And you've got the lining as well, which similarly is perfectly applied. You've also got the underframe detail, which has been picked out once again in the red lining, and that hasn't been done in gloss, which I think is quite interesting, and it gives a nice contrast, that does, so that's fair enough. And also the coal on the top, it is very nice and finely scaled. I believe it's probably removable if you wanted to get rid of it. And just like the underframe, they haven't applied the glossy varnish to the coal, which I'm really pleased about. I'm glad they didn't do that. I mean, it seems obvious, but the things that certain manufacturers get wrong usually are. But yeah, it's quite a nice contrast and obviously a nice touch of realism that the coal isn't super glossy as well. Around the back, as you'd probably expect, you've got the separately fitted vacuum pipe, more sprung buffers, the NEM coupling, and quite a bit more lining and separately fitted detail on the back of the tender there. So, as I'm sure is perfectly obvious, for the price, this loco is absolutely superbly detailed, and it's amazing just how much realism this lovely glossy finish brings. So do let me know what you think about the gloss. Is it something that you would like to see more often in 00 gauge, or are you happier with the more traditional, well, I don't know if traditional is the right word, but the more sort of matte finishes that you tend to get more often these days? Anyway, that's her then, 2554 Woolwinder. Let's get her onto the track and see if she runs just as nicely as she presents herself. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so there is the absolutely gorgeous Woolwinder down onto the track, and I really hope she's going to work as well as she has in the past for you today. She's about to be coupling up to this rake, quite a big rake of L&ER coaches, 6 coaches there, so I think that's a fair test of her strength. If she can pull those with no problem, she'll be a good puller in my books. But anyway, let's give her a little bit of juice. She does have pickups in the tender, which means that the express point should really be no problem for her, but let's test that theory and see what happens. So I'm just going to ease her up very gently on the controller until she starts to move, as usual. Let's try it. There we go. Jumped into life a little bit, and she is edging forwards now. It is a little bit sort of stop-startish, but it is quiet, and it hasn't stalled yet, so that's good. Let's increase the speed a little bit. As you can see from there on, it's not bad. It's Obviously the wheel set isn't perfectly balanced because it sometimes sort of rolls forwards and then slows right down again, then rolls forwards again. But it's not bad. Just leaving the shot now, as you can see. But I'm going to do that just so she's gone over the express points, and she has. Okay, let's bring her back, see how she does in reverse. Yep. Very nice in reverse as well. So as you can tell, a good runner. She runs just like my Buck Law does, and I assume it's probably very much the same mechanism. So there you go. There she is. A very, very good runner, in fact. And she certainly looks the part as well, doesn't she? Okay, let's reverse then and couple to those lovely coaches and see how she manages with them. Here we go, nice and steadily does it. Slow her down for the actual coupling. There we go, nice and gentle. Right, let me bring her back into shot for you. Well, into focus, I should say. Okay, there she goes. Well, we've just seen her push backwards on the coaches, so we know that she is reasonably capable of moving them. But let's set her forwards and see how she gets on with Gordon's Hill. That's the real test. So here she goes. Pull them off gently. We're giving the passengers a nice smooth ride today, for once. Okay, there we go. And I think there is... Did I put the sleeping car in there? Yes, there it is. Alright, very nice. Let me show you what else is running then. And I think I've got quite a good excuse today to run some more GNR engines. So here we have two Great Northern tank engines. We have the N2 and the I want to say J83, but I think that's the LNER version. J13, there we go, is that it? Both in the GNR colours. And they've got my Ocean of Ocean Wagons, as some people like to call it. Quite a big consist, to be honest, just for the two of them, but they seem to manage it just fine. And then on the inside line, I'm going to be running yet another Gresley Pacific, and this one's actually an A3, it's called Buck Law, and it's practically the same model as Woolwinder, but of course it does have the variation on it, which makes it an A3. And she's got some of the quite old-fashioned Gresley Triang coaches, or Triang Gresley coaches, I should say. And it's quite nice to break those out once in a while. So enjoy the running session and see how many other LNER engines you can spot. Oh, look at this. I do love the Great Northern colours. I think it's the brown that does it, because obviously other than that it's quite similar to LNER. But yeah, the brown on the running board and on the steps. Really love that. There they go, down Gordon's Hill. With no fuss. Let's see how old Woolwinder manages with those coaches up the hill then. It's only a slight hill of course, but it does normally knock them for 6 if they're not super powerful. No sign of her yet, so let's hope she's not gotten lost. I don't know how you can get lost on a sort of track, but come on, where is she? Here she comes. And you can see, even from this distance, you've got a real glint of the lights on her shiny coat. Alright, here goes. Let's see if we see any wheel slip. Let me know in the comments if you spot any, because I'm looking through the viewfinder. It's not awfully easy to see, but I didn't see any. Looks pretty good to me. I'm sure this is the image that most people think of when they think of a steam train. And the LNER really, and the Great Northern of course, were just pure elegance. There go the ocean wagons. Quite impressed by those two tank engines pulling those. Blimey, I've got a lot of those ocean wagons. Don't know where they've all come from. I mean, I buy one or two at train fairs when I see them, but then there's got to be 20 there. Oh, we've got a bit of competition here between the two Pacifics. Oh, look at that. Oh, that gets me all excited. What a bizarre thing to say. No, but it's just beautiful, doesn't it? A Gresley Pacific, there's nothing else quite like it. Slightly ruined that shot, did Buck Law, but never mind. Okay, so here are my ratings then for the beautiful Hornby A1 in a gloss finish. Detail 4 out of 5. Yes, the detail, especially if it was tooled in 2005, is really quite impressive, so I've given it 4 out of 5. Power, I did test her a little while ago and she can pull 6 coaches before she even starts to wheel slip. 7 coaches was actually no problem either. Any more than that, it starts to get a little bit dubious depending on the sort of grade of the track, of course. But generally, I think for a plastic loco, that isn't too bad. Though, of course, if she had a sort of cast metal running board, that would certainly improve her pulling power. But it's not bad, it's not bad. Slow speed, as you saw, it's a touch jerky at those very, very slowest speeds, but it's still way more than acceptable. So I've given it 4 out of 5 there. Quality, 5 out of 5. The quality of the finish, the quality of the build, are both really, really impressive actually, so I've given it full marks there. And similarly, value, 5 out of 5. For £89, less than £100, this is a huge Pacific with a beautiful finish and a fantastic amount of detail. And on top of that, it's limited edition, so really that can't be bad, can it? So I've given it 5 out of 5. Overall then, that's 8.86 out of 10, a very good score. Let's pop her into the modern rankings. That is second, just below the P class, and above the Bachmann 4575 tank. There's Booklaw doing a good job. I mean, it's only 4 coaches, but those trying ones are quite old, quite heavy, and they've got a bit of drag in the wheels as well, so actually she's doing quite well to pull that lot, but of course, as a Pacific, it's not much of a problem. Bit of an aerial shot for you, just so you can see things from above. Oh, I desperately want to get some more of these glossy ones now. I did service a P2, I think, and an A4 in the gloss, and they were just as nice. Okay then everybody, well I hope you've been enjoying yourself as much as I have. I just can't resist running a whole load of LNER engines, so yeah, as I say, I hope you really enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to leave the video a like or even a comment, because I do love it when you guys get in touch. And also, if you'd like to, feel free to check out the Facebook and Twitter pages, which are facebook.com/samstrains and twitter.com/samstrains. Thank you once again for your company, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Cheers everybody.